Long, long ago, when men cursed and beat the ground with sticks, it was called witchcraft. Today, it's called golf. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. Oh, good morning, good morning. I'm Zeb Bell. Good morning to you on a Tuesday, June number 2, June Dairy Month in full swing. Welcome to Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, and they include Western Way Services, always at your disposal, and locally owned and operated. Be sure and give them a call, 734-6969. And also, Valley-Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valley-Wide Home and Ranch. Let's go to the phone line right now and see if we have a Pledge of Allegiance person. Good morning. You know, I figured you'd volunteer. Thank you. Go ahead. Attaboy, Wheels, appreciate it. And right now it's time for the weather, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Oh, are they going to have an anniversary sale coming up on June 5 and 6 this weekend. And Friday they're going to have special hours open from 1 to 6. And they're going to have the first 2 people that come in and put deposits down on new carpet and install purchase of at least $500 will receive a free Shark vacuum. Ho, ho, ho. You'd better get into Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. And right now, here's Michael Rogers' weather. All right, Michael, thank you very much. And the weather, of course, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley with their great big anniversary sale coming up this weekend. Wonderful people serving you. Oh, and when you talk about service, don't forget, too, the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call the office for sale information, 678-9411. Every Thursday at 10 a.m. Burley Livestock Sale. And Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy serving you and the rest of the crew at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, with sale Thursday at 10 a.m. All right. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Jimmy Flowers, my dear friend, has provided some tickets for us to give away to the Classics on the Grass car show coming up this weekend. And what I'm going to do right now is ask a question, an easy question, and if you answer it correctly, and we'll have you go over to the station, that's where the tickets are, and pick them up. These are 2 tickets for like a husband and wife, best friends, whatever, and you can go to the car show at the Cache County Fairgrounds coming up on this weekend. Here is the question. From the television show The Rockford Files with James Garner, what kind of a car did he drive? From the Rockford Files with the star James Garner, what kind of a car in the TV series did he drive? First person to call, 436-2244 or 1-866-927-4587 with the right answer, and we'll give you the tickets. Hurry, hurry, hurry. I'll do some commercials quick, and then you give me a call. Don't forget SafeLink Internet, Idaho's #1 choice of wireless internet, 18 years now. SafeLink Internet, 677-8000, the number to call. No contracts, no credit checks, unlimited data, and they will serve you like they've been serving us right here at Zeb at the Ranch for many years. They are the best at SafeLink Internet, 677-8000. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. What's your answer? No. Nice try. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Caller number 2, go ahead. The dial tone did not have the right answer. Call back. It was not a Firebird. And give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle. And on the Rockford Files with James Garner, what kind of a car did he drive in the TV series? Good morning, caller. You're on the air. No, you're very close, but no. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Oh, come on now. Come on, think what it was. And I'm holding the answer in my hot, sweaty little palm of my hand right now. Give me a jingle. On the Rockford Files with James Garner. And what kind of a car did he drive in that TV series? Caller, good morning. You're on the air. No! Oh, I hate to tell you no, but no! Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Come on, call me, 436. You're all around it. You got the right size and style of car, but not the right car. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'll do another commercial, and I know we're going to get a right answer on the next call. Don't forget Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, 878-8900. Kevin and Cindy, the whole crew, and they can really help prolong the life of your garments with dry cleaning. Absolutely. And restoration of items, too. Take everything in there, and it'll come out brand spanking new. They're the best at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Come on, somebody give me a call and give me the correct answer. What kind of a car did James Garner drive in the television series The Rockford Files? You've been all around it, unless the answer that was given to me is wrong. I mean, I've got it right here in black and white, but give me a jingle, and we'll give you tickets to the car show this weekend. Come on, quickly, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I've got a picture in my mind's eye right now of all kinds of people running to the computer trying to figure out the answer by pulling up the Rockford file. That's okay. Just give me a call and give me the correct answer quickly so I can give these tickets away. While I'm waiting for your call that I hope is coming in, Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. They're open 7:30 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. And they've got all your air conditioning filters. You can save money and buy them by the case of 12. You're going to need them. It's going to get hot before too long. And get discount pricing. And don't forget, Ramsey Heating and Electric with all your electrical needs at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Ramsey Heating and Electric. You got to be kidding me. I thought that would be a giveaway easy right there this morning. What kind of car did James Garner drive in the television series The Rockford Files? And the car even had a name, a female lady's name. Oh, come on, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget, all kinds of fun things going on at Valley White Home and Ranch. All your fishing gear is over there. And if you need a license, they can fix you up on that, too. Along with all the worms, all the fishing gear right there at Valley White Home and Ranch. And all your feed needs, too, for all your livestock. And 4-H'ers, you get a 10% discount all the way through the end of the fair season. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away. And don't forget, they're going to have that big antique tractor show over there on June 19th and 20th. All kinds of things going on all the time, every day at Valley White Home and Ranch. And they're located at 910 South Oneida Oneida and Rupert. Everything, and I mean everything, for the farm, the home, and the ranch with Sean and Mandy, the whole crew at Valleywide Home and Ranch in Rupert. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Good morning. Come on, caller. Talk to me. No. All right, buddy. Thanks for the try. I was really hoping that caller would get it. They've had Grand Prix. Let's see. We've had a Camaro. What else have we had? Good morning, caller. You're on the air. No! And a Firebird is not the right answer. Those are all great cars. Really neat cars. As a matter of fact, I had one of those years ago. My goodness. Well, no, wait a minute. Where did you get that information that it was a Firebird? Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I've got right here in my hand, and it says that it was not a Firebird. It wasn't a Camaro. I've got it right here in my hot little hand that it was, and I'm scared to say it. Pardon? All right, we'll hang loose on this for a minute. According to what I've got from the 50 greatest movie and TV cars of all time, it was not a Firebird, but I don't know. Somebody else must have different information. Give me a call quickly, and or I'm going to have to come up with another question here pretty quick. Right here in black and white, it says what the car was and also what the name was. So give me a call, please. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I hope I got the right information now after all this. It says right here in black and white what it was, so we'll wait and see. Good morning. Give me a call, please. While I'm waiting for your call, maybe I got my foot in the bucket here, I don't know. Waiting for your call that I hope is coming in. Don't forget our dear friends at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. Hold on, caller, I'll be right there. The home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch with Thomas and Terry, the whole crew, all those folks really making your dining experience really enjoyable and really tasty at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. And they've got another location, too, at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, outstanding. You're going to love it at Denny's Restaurants in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. You know what? I'm going to give it to you, caller, and I'll tell you why I'm going to give it to you. Because, number one, I'm running out of time, and number two, you have hit it pretty close on the head. What it was, hold on, Chief. Yeah, hold on, Chief. You're giving away all my goodies here. That's right. It was, hold on a minute, it was a Shelby Mustang named Eleanor. Thank you, Chief. Da-da! And would you... Yeah. All right. Listen, Chief, I thank you for two reasons. Number one, I thank you for winning the contest. And number two, I thank you for getting me off the hook. Thank you. I appreciate it, buddy. Well, go over to the station and pick up 2 tickets for the Classics on the Grass going on at the Cassia County Fairgrounds this weekend, okay? All right, Chief. Thank you much. Appreciate that. All right. Woo! That was one contest where all of a sudden I was starting to doubt my information, but it was a Shelby Mustang, and they called the car Eleanor. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Yes, sir. Why do I have right here, straight from Hollywood, California, and the 50 greatest movie and TV cars of all time, they say it was a Shelby Mustang named Eleanor. What do you mean? You know, this kind of puts egg on my face in a way, but when you Google these and pull them up, it says right here, Jim Rockford, escaping the thugs or fleeing the police in a Shelby Mustang named Eleanor. Well, you know, I know who this is. I know. All right, well, I'll tell you what, you know. Yeah. You know cars far, far better than I do. I know who this is. And for me to argue cars with you would be like me trying to run the 100-yard dash in 9-1. Ain't going to happen. But I do respect your call, but I gave the ticket away. We gave it away today. I'll give some more away tomorrow. Holy buckets. I'm going to call you as my car aficionado from now on. Okay, well, tomorrow I'll talk about another car, but I think I'll call you first in case I got the wrong information. Thank you, I appreciate it. All right, take care. Caller, good morning, you're on the air. Oh. All right. No, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to get in the middle of this morning. This has turned into a car crash in itself. Hey, Chief, you still get the ticket. Go ahead and enjoy it. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. All right, buddy. Wow, I know I'm going to call old Casey from now on and say, hey, wait a minute, we got a little discrepancy here on our cars. Woo! Berry Equipment and Rental. No discrepancy over there. They've got the equipment to get any job done right. And don't forget, they've got 0% financing until June 30th on Walker Mowers. I probably got some disgruntled people calling me now. No payments for up to 120 days. Great deals on all the Doosan equipment, too. And don't forget, they've got 3 locations. Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln in Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Berry Equipment and Rental. The very best equipment to get the job done for you. Good morning, caller. Holy buckets, what are you going to say? Okay, now I'm going to bare my chest on something here because I thought, before I had Deanne look this up this morning, I honestly thought it was a Firebird. And then she looked it up this morning and gave me the news info on the movie cars and TV cars, and it said right there, Jim Rockford drove a Shelby Mustang. I thought it was a Firebird, too, so I'm sorry, everybody. I won't ask any more questions. Yeah, I understand. I've been in many of them. Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, you know, really, when you think about it, though, I was half right, even though I was half wrong because of the info that was given to us. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right, sir. Well, appreciate your call. Thank you. Okay. Tomorrow I'll ask, what kind of a car did I drive when I was a freshman in college? I know I I got that one right. It was a wreck. Hey, don't forget the Minnecasia Relay for Life going on June 19th and 20th at the Cassia County Fairgrounds. And I'm really, really supportive of what they're trying to do in garnering funds for fighting the dreaded disease, cancer. Minnecasia Relay for Life. At the event itself, Survivor Lap starts at 6 p.m. And then, of course, they're going to be renewing Survivor torches until June 8th. If you're interested, please contact Tim Vaughn at 431-7314. The Minnecasia Relay for Life this year at the Cassia County Fairgrounds, and it's June 19th and 20th, starting at 6 p.m. And by the way, Patty Shockey, if you're listening this morning, thank you for all that information. I do appreciate it. Okay, happy birthday to Keith Cottom. He's having his 32nd birthday today, times what, Keith? Anyhow, a happy birthday today to Keith Cottom and many, many more. He's a great listener to this program, and we certainly appreciate him. Thank you very, very much. Right now that I'm not going to give away any more car tickets right now this morning, and maybe tomorrow I might stick my foot in that puddle of water again, we are going to move over now to have our Capital Press Ag Minute. Quickly, caller, I got 1 minute. Go ahead, just 1 minute, and then I got a break. How did you know that? Thank you very much. Have a good day. Circle the wagons. You know, that's not too far from probably being the truth. Anyway, we won't get into what I drove my freshman year of college. It was... Look up the word ugly, and that was my car. Anyway, don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology, located right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. And the number to call for an appointment, and I urge you, as a matter of fact, I'm going over there this afternoon, and I urge you to give her a call for a hearing screening test. Hearing loss is not a part of aging. Please take care of your hearing. Call 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology. And right now here is the Capital Press Ag Minute. What happened, Wheels? Where did he go? Okay, hey, tomorrow, because that man has such a weak voice, turn him up a little bit tomorrow, would you please? All right, and wherever he went, he's still out there in the great outdoors somewhere in the microwave radio waves out there in the universe. He's gone. But anyway, that was Raul Pena. And Raul sometimes, well, he just turned his mic off and went to get a drink of water. Thank you, Capital Press Ag Minute, brought to everybody by the Mount Harrison Audiology and Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology. Number to call for a hearing screening appointment, 312-0957. It's that kind of a morning. Everything is going downhill fast. Grab on to the side of the wagon. Hey, we've got June Dairy Month, and we want to say thank you very much to June Dairy Month sponsors like Sportsman's Warehouse, with my old buddy Reese Widmeyer and the rest of the crew at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin. Father's Day gift giving is there. All the fishing equipment, hunting equipment, camping equipment. Sportsman's has it all. And the best at Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. And our friends over at Butte Irrigation. They're located at 116 South, 600 West of Paul, and their other location at 22342 Kimberly Road in Twin. Call Bryce and Paul, or Paul over at the new location in Kimberly for all your irrigation needs at Butte Irrigation. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Well, yes, sir. How are you, young man? Well, yeah, but you're not supposed to call up and say that. You're supposed to say, thank you for the compliment of me being ageless. Okay. Uh-huh. There you go. There you go. Well, I want to say to you and your entire family, thank you for all your listenership over the years, and a happy birthday, Keith. I got to get another commercial in, but I wish you the best, and blow out all the candles, stick your finger in the frosting, and have a good day. All right, my friend. God bless. Thank you so much. Hey, don't forget Lennox at Ramsey Heating and Electric. I haven't even touched on one of our main stories yet this morning. Oh, my. We spent all our time talking about the wrong car. It happens in live radio. Lennox and Ramsey Heating and Electric, with their gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps, you will enjoy the comfort. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459, and they can save you money. Warm winters, cool summers with Ramsey and Lennox. Don't you forget it. All right, please. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I am going to get very serious here for a few moments. I think this new age of thinking, this new age of saying that we have to accept filth and sleaze and abnormality is absolutely silly, stupid, and frivolous, and disgusting. I'm talking about this, folks. We all have to have standards to live by. We all should have some standards to live by that basically our morality and our upbringing says, no, we're not going to be a part of that. No, I'm not going to say this or that. Or, no, the Bible says not to do this, and so I will not. You have to have a code of ethics, and kind of like the Old West, a code of the West to live by and stand up to. We don't have that anymore. Anything goes in our society, and yesterday my wife and I came in the house to catch a little bit of the news, and we both looked at each other and thought, how sick is this? Former Olympic decathlon champion, great athlete, Bruce Jenner, transforming himself to be a woman of sorts, and is on the cover of Vanity Fair magazine. Now, when you go to the grocery store or whatever store that has magazines, and I know Vanity Fair, just because of the creepiness of this situation, is going to sell a lot of magazines. As a matter of fact, I heard that back east, a lot of the magazines on the shelves for Vanity Fair with this cover of now Bruce Jenner as a woman have sold out, and they're looking for other outlets to have the magazine. And that's disgusting and absolutely repelling to me. I don't want anything to do with seeing that again. I think you'll see when you see the cover. Well, he's even changed his name. Now he calls himself Caitlyn. What is the matter with our society? It is going like the Bible said it would. What was good is now bad, and what now is bad is going to be termed good. We are absolutely in an upside-down world, and there should be condemnation And there should be sadness about Bruce Jenner being so sick and so perverted, and he needs so much help. But I will say this, and I'll stand up to anybody that wants to argue it. That's fine. That this transgenderism and this trying to change your sexuality and everything else is a slap in the face of God himself. He doesn't make mistakes. Humans do. God does not. And this kind of garbage that is now permeating itself in our society, and the news media just picking it up as a normality and a story of, oh, isn't it cute, in reference to Bruce Jenner. It's absolutely sickening where we have gone. We've lost our morals. We've lost our right and wrong. And we've lost normalcy in a civilized society. You don't agree? All you have to do is pick up the phone and call me and argue. If you do agree, I'd like to hear from you too. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Ay, ay, ay. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2, right behind Dr. Crane's office in Burley. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Number to call, 678-1191. All the sports medicine, all the exercises, and that hydrotherapy pool with the treadmill in the bottom. Oh, I am high on those folks. Nick Greenwell and the rest of the crew, very, very, very professional staff serving you, helping you get back to being you. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. You call for an appointment today at 678-1191. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Yes, sir. I need you to speak up. It's real low this morning. And Wheels, turn the caller up a little bit if you can. Thank you. Go ahead. Yes, he was. Yes, he did. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. With a capital C. Thank you, Keith. I got another one waiting. I agree with you 100%. Happy birthday one more time. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi. Let me ask you a question, and you and I share the same attitude and agreement on normalcy and abnormalcy, but why and how could they possibly strip this person of the past championship awards, etc., when at that time he was supposedly competing as a man, which he did, and he won the awards as a man. I mean, you can't really go back in time and say, well, when you were normal then you won the awards, but now that you're abnormal, we can't take them away from you today. Can we really? That I agree with. That I agree with. And you know what? Today's society, let me ask you something, my dear lady. In today's society, do you see it like everybody else should, that we are being pushed from the liberal left to accept these filthy norms as normalcies, and they are not? Amen. He should be. He should be. God bless you for your call. You always call in with some really straight shooting answers, and I appreciate it. Thank you. God bless you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yo, wait a minute. Randy, wait a minute. I want to get your opinion on that right there. When I talked about the cover on Vanity Fair, a lot of people that haven't seen it might go, well, it couldn't be that bad. How disgusting, honestly, how disgusting on a 1 to 10 scale was it for you to see that? We have lost our morality. We've lost our right and wrong. We've lost the black and white. We are doing exactly as a Sodom and Gomorrah type country. I don't care who's offended by that. It's the truth. And I am so sick of the abnormal in our society trying to push its way into normalcy with our children, our churches, our schools, etc. This is sick, Randy. Right. Yep. I cannot agree more, Randy, and I'm glad you called because we've got to start righting some of the wrongs and recreating a moral fabric in this country, and it's being torn apart, and it's being burned, and it's being thrown down on the ground, and we're stepping on it. Randy, thank you. God bless you, man. Thanks. Caller, good morning. Quickly, I've got to get a weather forecast in here. Go ahead, please. Hi there. Well, you know, Donna, these people that are pushing the transgenderism and they're pushing these sex changes and they're pushing the gay and lesbian lifestyle, they want to do something like that with their life. That is entirely their business. But notice what the repercussions are. I mean, here is a person and it. Bruce Jenner, now on the cover of a nationwide, worldwide magazine, Vanity Fair, and basically what it says is their perverted lifestyle is now accepted, and it is also, they say, called normal. And I'm saying for our kids, for our future, for our families, for our nation, and for eternity, we've got to get this thing back and right the ship. This is garbage. Amen, Donna. And to you and George, God's blessings this morning. Thank you. All right. All right, we'll see you later. Thank you. She's gone. All right, there. She was. Okay, I lost her for a minute. Time for the weather real quick, and we need to get this weather forecast on with Michael Rogers Weather, and it's sponsored by Mad River Laser. Have you been in there? It's right on the square in Rupert, and Nicole and the rest of the folks over there, absolutely phenomenal. And they've got all the barbecue kits ready to engrave for Dad for Father's Day. They've got all the aprons that say, "You're a great cook, Dad," and they got all the coffee mugs and all the buck knives that you can buy and have an inscription engraved on them. Oh, they are fantastic. Over at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Right now, here is Michael Rogers Weather. All right, Michael Rogers Weather right here on Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-2293. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There are those right now in this country. I want to say this real quick, and you have to realize how organized and how much money is behind these absolutely sick, perverted groups that are really espousing the acceptance of the gay and lesbian lifestyle, the transgender lifestyle, etc. They're pushing a lot of money, and they're making a lot of threats. Well, I tell you on this program this morning, I will not ever change my attitude on this show. I will never, ever kowtow to what they want. They can threaten all they want. We're not going to change. I am not going to change. I'm not going to bend in the wind to those people that are absolutely perverted and abnormal. Not going to happen. It's funny how we could segue right into this next story by using the words perverted and abnormal. Let's have a little story about Hillary Clinton, shall we? Hey, she is the queen of mean and showed it a little bit yesterday. If you didn't hear about this, she was looking a little bit haggard, a little bit ruffled, and she was going to speak to some of her fans. Well, she's going down the sidewalk. I don't know if you saw this on the news or not. She's going down the sidewalk, and one lady had stepped forward to say something to Hillary and stuck out her hand to shake hands, and Hillary, being the not-so-nice and the queen of mean, turned around and looked at this woman, and she said, "Go to the back of the line. Go to the back of the line." Now, if you were a prospective voter for Hillary, and all of a sudden you felt snubbed and you felt embarrassed in front of all these news cameras and all these other people, and Hillary told you to go to the back of the line, I would have said something like, yes, I will go to the back of the line. I will go to the back of the line for Governor Scott Walker or Ted Cruz or anybody else because I don't want to vote for you anymore. She is not very presidential. She is not very kind. And if that's the best that the Democrats can put forth for a possible nominee, and God help us all, a possible president's bid, oh my goodness, this country is in trouble. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. What else have we got in the news here this morning? Oh, this really was crazy yesterday when I was watching the news. Obama stood up behind his podium, and he said that since he took over as president, under his leadership, we, the United States, have regained the number one respected nation. And where did he get this? Our enemies are laughing at us. Our allies are hating us. And he said yesterday that right now we have gained the respect. We are now back in the number one position in the world for having respect for leadership around all the other countries in the world. What is this guy smoking anyway? Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call, give me your thoughts. Oh, by the way, we're going to talk a little bit here in just a second about the TSA. What a joke. If you're flying, be listening. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, and service is the key word, as right now they have what they say is the free pre-trip safety check. Oh, my goodness, they included visual inspection to go along with a lot of safety features like tire inspection, visual inspection of the front-end components, visual inspection of the brake components, checking out the shocks and the struts. Oh, I'm telling you, please stop in and check out that free pre-trip safety check and many more, along with the best in tires, along with the best in front-end alignments, the best in brake service, and the best in service overall. They are great. All 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Yep, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Oh, thank you, sir. What can I do for you? Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, everything you said is right, and he stands up there with the oval of the presidency on the podium, and he looks out at the cameras, of course, looking first of all into his teleprompters, and says that we are now, under his leadership, the U.S. is the most and number one respected nation in the world. I tell you, this man, he must watch cartoon shows every morning to come up with these wacky thoughts. And like I said, I'll stand behind this. Our enemies are laughing at us, and our allies are hating us. I wonder if he took a little poll over in Israel this morning, how great the numbers would be for his favor. Yeah. Well, unfortunately. Yeah. I will. Yeah, we have got 500. Let me check my little graph here. We have got 597 days left with this man and this administration. Riley, sit down, buckle up, and grin and bear it. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate your call. God bless you. Thank you. Oh, by the way, there's something else to worry about this morning. The TSA checkpoints, they're not doing their job. You may or may not know this, but like 94 to 96%, 94 to 96% of the TSI checkpoints have been letting guns and bombs go through. Here's what happened. They had some undercover investigators start checking to see how efficient these people were with the TSA. 94 to 96 times they had bombs and guns go through. Not bombs, but bombs and guns go through. And last week, Homeland Security Chief Jay Johnson had said, why, all is great with the TSA. All is efficient, and we're so much safer. Are you kidding me? 94 to 96 of the airports checked with the TSA weren't checking close enough, and the undercover investigators were slipping through with phony bombs and phony guns. Nobody asked them. Oh, my goodness. We're going to take a break and be back in about 6 minutes. Don't go away. Zeb at the Ranch. News next from CBS. Oh, my. Welcome back. Hour number 2. Zeb at the Ranch, and on a Tuesday, as a matter of fact. And we're all ready to rock and roll with hour number 2, thanks to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch, and I mean everything at Valleywide. And our dear friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, I'm very proud and honored to have them on our program. Everything to take care of your garbage, always at your disposal. Number to call, 734-6969. Don't forget they've got all the dumpsters in various sizes. Fill them up and call them, and they'll come pick it up and get rid of it. You better believe it. And, of course, locally owned and operated. They've got the best of on-site garbage pickup on the route service. And I'm getting calls and bells and whistles. Everything's scaring me to death here. I forgot to turn off my phone. Anyway, don't forget, Western Waste Services, always at your disposal, 734-6969. Wonderful people. With all the bells and whistles going off, I also want to remind you about some other dear friends of ours. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-5636, with Joel Heward, the manager, and the family and the staff serving you. Always helping you with all the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved one. You know, and I emphasize this, always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please call them, and we all should call them and get the advanced knowledge and information on pre-planning funerals to help alleviate a lot of the stress and worry for our families. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-5636. Please contact them today. Real quick note, every morning we start the show off with our friends, Cheney Flooring and Home Design. They're going to have a great big anniversary sale coming up on June 5 and 6 this weekend. Don't miss it. Right there at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-6945. Look for the blue door. Thank you very much. Let's go right now to the phone lines, and we have with us Kenrick Ward. Good morning, Kenrick. How are you?
He just hung up, sir.
He did?
Yes.
Well, then call him back right away.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I have no idea why he would hang up, but we're going to get right back with him. And Kenrick Ward is our guest talking about the EPA, so we'll make sure he finds out about that and call him right back, get him on the air. And something must have happened, and hopefully we can get that taken care of momentarily. Yes, sir.
He is back on. He just lost us for a moment.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Wheels. Appreciate it. Right now, a gentleman I've been waiting to talk to for over a week regarding the Environmental Protection Agency and more of their absolute asinine and ridiculous power grabs with our water. Good morning, Kenrick Ward. How are you?
Hey, Zeb, doing fine. Thank you for having me on.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm going to just say this, and you can correct me or you can agree with me, but right now, this agency, the EPA, is absolutely out of control. They are an agency that does not have the powers vested in it by Congress. Basically, they're illicit and illegal, but yet they're controlling and possibly going to destroy our agricultural methods all across the United States with this new water ruling, and I'm scared to death. What about you? Tell me about it.
Well, I would tend to agree with you, Zeb, because we know the Obama administration has resorted to executive orders and executive fiat on many levels throughout the administration, and the EPA seems to be probably one of the worst abusers of that process through their rulemaking methodology, if you will, and invariably, whether you're talking about water or air, they're coming down hard on industry, on farmers, as you said, and the water rules that I wrote about both in Texas and in Virginia do pose a real and present danger to the health of the agricultural economy.
Where do they get off setting these rules? Where do they get off making all these regulations and guidelines? Kenrick, where do they get...
This is a classic case of federal control. Once it gets started, it's a slippery slope. And their response is, well, look, a third of the water that we consume as users of water is, quote, regulated by federal regulations. So they're as bureaucrats, their obvious impulse is to say, well, if we're controlling a third, we might as well just go the whole boat. And they're saying that two-thirds of the people in the country are somehow at risk because EPA regulations are not in full effect. So it raises the stakes. We go from patrolling and policing and regulating navigable waters to now looking at puddles and streams and ponds and on private land. And I think most people, if they look at it in that context, they'd say that's government overreach at its worst.
Okay, so what do? You wrote a very interesting piece about water down in Texas, which I think is applicable to any state right now with all the rains we've had, whether it be Texas or whether it be up here in Idaho. We've had rain every day, and I live right next to a major canal, and with some of the puddles I've had out in some of my pasture land, of course some of that water is running into the canal. I have no control over it, but the EPA, with some of these new regulations, Kenrick, they might come in, and if they wanted to, they could fine me.
Right. This is kind of the one-size-fits-all bureaucratic mindset. And whether you're in a drought-stricken area or out in Virginia, where I am, where we're getting plenty of rain and have for years, this has become a real issue at the state level. The EPA is pretending as if there is no environmental quality or environmental oversight at the state level, and that's patently false, of course. Every state has its own Department of Environmental Quality or whatever name they choose to use. And these state agencies maintain that the federal plan, as proposed by the EPA, is simply unworkable. It's not only expensive, but it's just not practical. And that's, the kind of mindset that you get in Washington, that somehow they know better than the people who are on the ground.
But I guess my obvious question, and pardon my naivete on this, but I'm being very straightforward. How do we tell these thugs in this Gestapo-type atmosphere, no, we're not going to be regulated by you, we're not going to be shut down by you, we're going to go ahead underneath our own state regulations? How do we ever get that achieved?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of these disputes end up in court, and it's somewhat of a stacked deck at times, because it really depends on what jurisdiction you're in, what federal court, what circuit court you're in. There's also the legislative approach, and here in Virginia, all 21 Republican state senators signed a letter to Gina McCarthy, the administrator at the EPA, vehemently protesting these water regulations. It's interesting and really, I think, sort of a disgrace that not a single Democrat in the state Senate in Virginia would sign on to that. So you have the partisan element to this, and as long as it's going to be partisan. I would say state legislators do need to be involved, and out there in Idaho, I would hope and would assume that the lawmakers would take a strong position on this and show resistance, because just because the EPA says something, just because they go through this farce of public hearings, which is not really a public hearing at all, there's a due process procedure that needs to be followed. People's voices need to be heard both in the legislature and in the court.
Yeah, but Kenrick, as you well know, and I really commend you on this article, it opened my eyes to how serious this act is nationwide. Our United States Congressman Mike Simpson and our senators, Crapo and Risch, they're all standing up for our water rights. They're all standing up for our state. But I know many chapters and verses of stories, and you do too, Kenrick, of where people thought they were within the guidelines of the state regulations, like what happened in Wyoming a year ago when a gentleman built a farm pond and the EPA ended up fining him $75,000 a day.
Right, and that's where the state agency responsible for water quality needs to have a say in the issue and get engaged. And as I mentioned, it does get politicized, so depending on who your governor is, who controls the legislature, and who's sitting on the bench, these things do matter. So you could say that elections do have a consequence, and I think that blue states, such as they are, tend to run one way, red states tend to run a different way, and states have had success at blocking or at least delaying these EPA rules. Out here in Virginia, the air quality rules are of equal concern when it comes to the coal industry. So it's a multi-front battle, and it needs to be waged persistently and aggressively, because I don't think people should just roll over and say, well, the EPA, they're in charge. No, they're really not. They're a participant. They like to call themselves a stakeholder, but they're not dictators. They should not be allowed to behave as such.
You know, Kenrick, you said one word that really stood out just a moment ago. It was the word battle. And when you use the word battle from us, the common folk that use the ground, a little bitty ranch like myself and others out here in the West that are trying to make a living, the battle sometimes consumes us. It consumes our time. It consumes our resources. And yes, it consumes our money. And these people with the EPA know this, and it's just a waiting game to absolutely wage war against us because they know they can beat us financially and also against the usage of the land and the water. How do we win?
Well, I totally agree with you. I mean, they are using our money, tax dollars, to wage war against farmers, business people, entrepreneurs of all types. And yeah, who can afford the time and the money to take a personal case to court? Fortunately, there are several land rights groups out there in the various states who protect and preserve private property rights. So I think it's a matter of, gathering the right allies, the lawyers and the attorneys who do this work for a living. That's how they work. They get funded by donors. They're based on foundations, so they have good legal and academic tools to use. So I think you have to form a coalition. If your local politician or the State Department of Environmental Quality isn't doing its job, then you're really forced to go to the private sector, I'd say, for lack of a better word, to get the lawyers and the experts to argue your case. And I don't know the groups out there in Idaho, but I know they do exist, and that's what they're there for, is to balance out and to counter the the jackboot of big government.
You know, the jackboot of big government. And, Kenrick, I'm going to say this. I don't think it's about really protecting our water. I don't think the environmental movement is really about protecting anything with endangered species. I think it's all about a 7-letter word, control, and taking away private property rights and basically making us all live in a commune someplace out west of L.A. near the ocean. I am absolutely livid that it's nothing more than control.
What Hyatt called the road to serfdom.
Yeah. And I think you'll agree with me that that's what it is. It's not about protecting anything. It's about taking things away from us.
Absolutely true. I mean, it's a battle for liberty of the people individually, and to let people make a living. It's sort of morphed from a states' rights issue right down to the level that you're talking about. And that's what people need to be aware of. And I think public consciousness is so important on this issue, and public education on the issue, and not just taking at face value what you read in the mainstream media, because, frankly, I will tell you, the mainstream media is going to parrot and promote the doctrine and dogma and propaganda that's put out by the federal agencies.
How bad, and I know I'm kind of looking into a crystal ball here asking you this question, but how bad, in your opinion, can and will this new Clean Water Act be with the EPA? I mean, what kind of Gestapo tactic do you think we might see as far as its agricultural applications? I mean, this is the greatest country in the world for raising food for the entire world. How bad of a setback do you think this will cause?
Coming back to the political question, which is inextricably intertwined in all of this, if you're looking at the glass as half full of water, you're going to say, well, let's just let the clock run out, because if there's one advantage, it is that the federal agencies move at a snail's pace. They don't move at the speed of business. And either through legislative resistance or legal resistance in the courts, you can run out the clock and hope that come 2016 we have a different regime in place. It doesn't mean that it's going to get instantly better, because a lot of these bureaucrats, they're full-timers and they're not going anywhere. But I think it makes a good case for limited government, and I think that is a clarion call that people are starting to listen to. And believe me, that's something that people on the left and the right can agree on. Unfortunately, we're shoved into the chute of having to pick D versus R. I believe the choices should be much broader. People should be thinking much more broadly and not be suckered into the duopoly game. And I just think on a grand scale, people need to realize that the system is rigged. That's going to be my pessimistic point, but that the system is also capable of being challenged on legal levels as well as partisan levels. And so it's, as I say, it comes down to a fight and a war of wills, and you want to believe that right will prevail.
Let me throw this in the fray. It's the last couple of minutes of our segment, but with the extremely deep pockets of the environmental movement in this country and the under-the-table, behind-closed-doors, smoke-filled rooms atmosphere of which they do business, how can we expect to defeat the congressmen and senators that are being basically bought off and paid for by the environmental movement? We need a clean house back there, but I don't think there's a big enough broom and a dustpan to throw them all in.
Yeah, that's an excellent way to put it, and it's a very realistic approach. I am no huge fan of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, for instance, but I think they could be a useful tool, and they are definitely a powerful tool on Capitol Hill. If that group intends to maintain any degree of integrity, they will be on board in the fight against these overreaching air and water regulations. So normally the chamber can be a little slippery, a little squishy on certain issues, but on the issues we're talking about here today, Zeb, matters of just making a living and running a business that can make a living, that's where there are some big allies out there. So it's not all a bunch of leftists who are just sitting in some ivory tower. There are people in D.C. who are fighting the other side. The Heritage Foundation, groups that ally with the Chamber of the National Federation of Independent Business. These groups have a lot of membership, and they have a lot of resources of their own. So I wouldn't concede or wave the white flag or surrender and say that it's a lost cause. It's definitely a tough fight, but it's not one that's over by any means.
I think you can tell by the tone of my voice, Kenrick, that I am not the kind of a guy that's going to wave the white flag at anybody.
I can hear that for sure.
All right, listen, national reporter for Watchdog.org and writes for the Texas Bureau. I got to have a promise from you, though. You are an excellent guest. Please come back in the future. I appreciate it.
Any invitation, gratefully accepted. I appreciate the time and wish you all a good day.
All right. Thank you very much. Kenrick Ward. Very interesting and a great piece about the EPA and their takeover of our water and the new rules and regulations. And we're going to stay on top of this story and have many more guests on it in the next couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, let me take a look here for a minute, please. Tomorrow at 9:30, I'm going to give you a little heads up on this. Don't miss the segment that I've got with the Idaho Water Users of Idaho Director, and that's Norm Simanko. Nobody anywhere here in the Northwest knows more about water than Norm Simanko, and I appreciate him very much. And another gentleman that deserves so many accolades for fighting for our water rights and fighting for water is Bert Stevenson, and God bless him and all he does. Those two gentlemen are just phenomenal. Got to pay some bills. And right now, don't forget, it is June Dairy Month. Yes, it's June Dairy Month, and we want to say thank you to Dairy Queen. Now, starting next week, we're going to be starting to give away some special gifts to Dairy Queen. Don't forget that. We're working it out so it balances for the whole month of June for June Dairy Month. But you can stop in at 2200 Overland Avenue in Burley and 5055 Lincoln in Jerome, Dairy Queen, and they've got the all-new, you've seen it on TV, Jurassic Smash Blizzard. Oh, smashed up peanut butter cookies and cookie dough. It is fantabulous. You better stop into Dairy Queen today. And also our thanks go out to Golden Valley Warehouse. Royal and the rest of the crew at 468 West, 1000 South of Burley, and they've got a great bunch of guys and gals working out there at Golden Valley Warehouse. The best seed outfit in the Burley-Oakley Valley. And they also custom clean your own seed. So call them today, 678-7324, Golden Valley Warehouse, in a tribute and salute to June Dairy Month. Oh, by the way, I want to remind you, too, the Relay for Life, Mini-Cassia Relay for Life, is going to be on June 19th and 20th. We've hit this many, many times, and we'll tell you about it many, many more times at the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo Grounds. And don't forget, the local Relay for Life is currently looking for more teams to come on board, as well as committee members to help out for the next year's event. If you're interested, please support the Mini-Cassia Relay for Life. Call Patty Shockey. What a nice lady. 670-2975. Patty Shockey at 670-2975. Mini-Cassia Relay for Life coming up on June 19th and 20th at the Cassia County Fairgrounds, I should say. Thank you very much. This is June Dairy Month, and we're going to be giving away a lot of different certificates during the course of the month. And we're not going to give them all away right away at the beginning, but we're going to kind of spread things out over the whole month, and we want to say thank you to the United Dairymen of Idaho for all of their help. By the way, another business that I want to say thank you to And that's Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Heyburn, or Rupert and Burley, whichever way you're going. Well, this is where the fun is sold. Now, they've got watercraft. Nothing better than having fun on watercraft on the lake or on the river. And now's the time to get new watercraft for this year at Let's Ride. And if you already have a watercraft and you're saying, boy, I can't wait to get on the water, well, maybe you need to get it serviced too. They've got a fantabulous service department over at Let's Ride. So stop in at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Heyburn, where the fun is sold at Let's Ride. Well, let's see. Oh, and by the way, if you're over there on Highway 70, I want to remind you about stopping in to, I should say Highway 24. Pardon me, I got all discombobulated there for a minute. When you're on Highway 24, don't forget to stop in to Cameron and Siemens Insurance, and they're located right there on Highway 24 going into Rupert. Write the number down. Now, the number is 436-4424. You make an appointment and make sure that you're all covered. You bet. With the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, they are the professionals and very dedicated and responsive to your needs. That's right. That's the key. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. The number to call again for that appointment is 436-4424. Let's take a look right now. I believe we're ready to go to the phone lines, and I believe our next guest is ready for us this morning, and I'm really looking forward to having her on the program. And Kelly Kohlberg, how are you?
Great. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Kelly, I appreciate it. I'm going to need you to speak up as much as you can. For some reason, we're having a real difficulty hearing you this morning. And Damon, if you could turn her up just a little bit. I'm having a little problem trying to hear. Kelly, tell me a little bit about this memo and this poll about evangelical voters. Give me kind of a synopsis about that, would you please?
Yes. Well, I work on a project called Christians for a Sustainable Economy, and we look at the whole counsel of Scripture and the Constitution about American renewal, and there has been a lot of talk about evangelicals being divided and confused with respect to amnesty and open borders and so forth. So a poll was just recently done by Pulse Opinion, which is related to Rasmussen, and they found that, in fact, about 80% of evangelical Christians do not believe in amnesty when 60 million Americans are out of work and 20 million American citizens cannot find a job right now that they're actively looking. Many more have stopped looking. So the idea of Scripture is both justice to your neighbor and family members, as well as kindness to well-meaning foreigners who come as blessing, and that's the idea.
You know, Kelly, I'm going to put myself on the line here a little bit. I am a very conservative person. I am a person that believes in the Constitution. I am a person that believes in the laws and regulations of this country and the sanctity of our borders to keep our country safe from all invasions. I think right now what has happened in this country, basically in the last 7 years, more so with the Obama administration, has been atrocious. We have no borders. We have no security. We have nothing that protects us, and I'm very upset about this. And I don't want to see any more immigrants come to this country unless it's through a legal fashion.
Yeah, well, many millions of people would agree with what you just said. And America has been the most welcoming nation to immigrants in the history of the world, and so we continue to be that. There are about 4 million people who've applied legally to come to America and who are now at the end of the line, and they feel like, well, should I have just walked across the border? and come illegally because our president is now rewarding lawlessness and not legal, respectful immigration process. It's very disturbing, especially because their end goal seems to be what they call a permanent progressive majority. And so they're already signing people up to vote, or trying to. And of course, this was the idea all along. It wasn't about love. Love doesn't break up families with the hope of jobs up in North America that don't exist. Love also protects veterans who are struggling and the elderly who are having to work now, and college graduates who have no career opportunities. So I think the loving thing we always find in Scripture, where you see the embrace of a well-meaning foreigner who comes as blessing, like Ruth or Rahab, or Jesus lifted up the Good Samaritan. And you also have the book of Nehemiah, where he's leading the nation in the rebuilding of walls to protect from harmful neighboring tribes and to cultivate the good. So really this is a time for balanced wisdom and discernment.
Well, it is a time for balanced wisdom, but no country, I don't care in what period of history, whether it's Rome or whether it is this great country of the United States of America in current modern day times, no country can stay strong. No country can be a beacon of hope to the world. No country can offer help to many if it is torn apart from within with illegalities, and that's what's happening right now.
I agree with you.
Well, what about some of these questions that you pose to America regarding the poll itself? I mean, absolutely, I strongly oppose illegal immigrants coming into this country. Absolutely, I oppose what's going on as far as the filth and the sleaze in this country, as the gay and lesbian and transgender movement. I absolutely oppose these things, but we don't seem to have our voices heard anymore, Kelly.
Well, the same people who are putting so-called progressive politicians in office are subsidizing the media and judicial activism. So the media doesn't represent the average citizen anymore. As we know, look at George Stephanopoulos and Brian Williams.
Absolutely.
Where they're not truth tellers. And then judges have been put in, and by the way, most of this is funded by George Soros of the Open Society Institute. If you just follow the money, which is not hard to do, download their IRS 990s on GuideStar. And George's friends, Rockefeller, Carnegie, and Ford Foundations, Yale. It's a handful of people who are creating judicial activism, putting politicians in office, and slanting the media. So I think once Americans wake up to this reality, we begin to speak up for ourselves, we begin to blog, we run Facebook groups, we do town hall meetings, we run for offices, school boards, we speak up, we find one another, we unite, and we stand up for life-giving principles, including the sanctity of life, and the American experiment, and take your words back. Do justice to the American experiment that is unique in all of human history. And it's not about a small elite amassing power. It's
right.
about individual liberty, personal responsibility, and raising your children well, that they would raise their children well. And so I think it's time America, just really says enough is enough. We're mad as hell and not going to take it anymore. And we're just speaking for ourselves. But that takes courage and leadership, and it takes getting organized a little bit like the left does.
I agree with everything you said, and I guarantee you I am not going to ban. I wrote in a blog, as a matter of fact, my weekly blog last week, about this situation in general, and basically if it's not in the principles of what God's Word is in the Bible, then it is wrong. And I really think we can simplify this whole problem right now, Kelly. What is right is right. What is wrong is wrong. And not to paraphrase, as the Bible also warned us about, in modern day times, what was right is now wrong, and what is wrong is now right. And we're seeing a complete twisting of our values, and it's about time we put our foot down and said, enough.
Yeah, love does that. Love says enough. And take the word love back where it belongs. Because the truth is, what they're now calling good, and however you define it, open borders, anything goes sexually. It's not just homosexuality. It's now fathers wanting to marry their daughters.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of this and the rise in human trafficking and sex slavery that frankly goes up in numbers wherever a mosque appears. Islam has been a plague on humanity for 1,400 years. And by the way, they're so-called resettling quite a few Muslims in Idaho. Mm-hmm. So you need to sign on to refugeeresettlementwatch.org and look at Ann Corcoran's research on this.
I will. I got to interrupt you right there.
But the point was this: that all of these conditions are the old news. What was news was a man and a woman in covenant love for one another for their whole lives. And that's progress. That's healing. That's health for human bodies and minds and hearts and for children. That was the progress, biblical marriage.
Absolutely.
And a lot of suffering happens when we lose that.
Absolutely. We need, and I think succinctly and very simply put, we need a restoration of values in this country. And you touched on what's going on here in Idaho. And I'm going to say this, Kelly, and I think you'll agree with me, is that right now the College of Southern Idaho and some of its so-called leadership are extremely naive and, quite frankly, I think totally misinformed about these refugees that are coming into this area. I, for one, am not for it. I, for one, think it's going to cause a lot of problems. I, for one, want questions answered as to why they're Syrian Muslims instead of Syrian Christians. I want a lot of answers to various questions, and I think that with the recolonization of this administration moving in people, especially Muslims, into this country, it's going to be a very serious and sore subject in the future. Your thoughts?
Well, again, follow the money. So the United Nations and President Obama are forcing migrants to American cities, almost 200 American cities, and paying 9 agencies hundreds of millions of dollars to do it. 5 of those claim to be Christian agencies. So it's rather disturbing because the agencies, by taking the federal money, can't share the gospel message. They have to be silent.
That's right.
And why aren't they bringing Christians who are being murdered by Islam?
That's right.
And furthermore, what they mean by resettlement is usually to put people on the welfare system. Well, it seems to me that wisdom and love would bring more jobs to America and not more people without jobs when we have 60 million who don't have jobs already.
Absolutely.
In this country, we have an $18 trillion national debt.
You know, Kelly,
I feel that we're really hurting the next generations of Americans who are growing up with this enormous debt and without any hope of real career paths.
I agree.
It seems very unkind, and Europe is learning this the hard way. Islam doesn't come to assimilate. It's not creative in nature, just by and large. I mean, I'm not saying every nice Muslim person, but this is not going to go well.
Absolutely.
We have a responsibility to shape a culture that's called stewardship. It's like gardening. You don't just throw, you make choices about what to put in. And generally, you don't put in weeds or thorns. They'll happen without stewardship. So I think that God loves us all. He certainly loves Muslims. He loves us all. He loves Americans. He loves non-Americans. And at the same time, we need to really be thinking about stewarding the garden of our culture for the future and looking to history about what works and what doesn't work.
That was very well stated, Kelly, and I want to say thanks to Kelly Kohlberg this morning for being on my program, and I'm going to keep your telephone number and contact, and I will have you back in the future. Kelly, God's blessings to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Very nice lady right there, and I agree with everything she said in its entirety. Thank you very much. We got to get the weather forecast in here, and the weather is brought to you this hour by our friends at Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. I'm telling you, woo, this is a great place to go. Great food. I mean, man, your friends and neighbors are going to say thank you for going to Duck Uglies. And great entertainment. Listen to what they've got on Friday and Saturday. Along with the great menu choices, delicious smoked ribs. Oh, and are you aware that Duck Uglies is now serving breakfast Monday through Friday? And they've got breakfast burritos. Call in, order a breakfast burrito, and if you can't make it over there to get it, they'll probably bring it right to you right there in the Burley area. Oh, my. The food is fantastic. And they've got the best of entertainment there. I mean, Barton and Bowler, Callie and Emily, and Ned Carter. I mean, just to name a few. This is a great place. Great place. Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. And right now here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers with Zeb of the Ranch. Are you done with the rain? Yeah, I thought you might. Well, that's good. Now, imagine a day in the Magic Valley of south central Idaho where it's been raining like crazy, and now it's clear and crisp and clean. The air just feels so good. Smells so good. You can see those nice puffy clouds, and heck, if you look down the Snake River from where you're at all the way down to Cauldron Lynn if you wanted to. It's going to be a nice day today. That's just for today. Chance of showers for tomorrow. Tomorrow's not here yet. Don't worry. There you go. There you go. Daytime high today, low 70s. Enjoy the day. If you enjoy the weather, go with you got.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. And don't forget, brought to you this hour by Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley, and the food is tremendous. A couple of things, and we'll take some more calls. Give me a jingle. My good buddy Dave Zanino, Captain Z, says they're going to have another roping tomorrow night at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. Sign up at 6:30, rope at 7, 3 for $25 draw pot, enter up to 6 times. And for more information, contact my good old buddy Dave Zanino, 431-1263. That number again, 431-1263. And that is the summer series of team roping at the Jerome County Fairgrounds on Wednesday night. And then, while I'm waiting for your calls that I hope are coming in, don't forget, my dear friend Jimmy Flowers is helping to head up all the publicity for the Mini-Cassia Auto Collectors 29th Annual Classics on the Grass. And this is going to be at the Cassia County Fairgrounds this weekend on June 6th and 7th. So everybody try to be there. And we'll have another contest for some more tickets tomorrow morning. I'm chuckling because this morning's didn't go so well. But we'll have that rectified and more tickets to give away tomorrow morning, so everybody tune in. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, did you hear about comedic actor Vince Vaughn? You know who he is, the tall guy. He must be, what, 6'4", 6'5", something like that, and he's been in a lot of comedy movies. I can't think of the names of the movies right offhand. I apologize. But he is in hot water, probably probably with the Hollywood set, and especially all the liberals. And I really respect the guy. I have gained a newfound respect for actor Vince Vaughn. And I don't like a lot of actors. I don't trust a lot of actors because they always seem to go towards the liberal mindset. Not this guy. He spoke out against any more gun control and stood up for gun ownership. And man, Hollywood doesn't like this. And I wonder if he has seen possibly his last offer for a movie for quite some time. I don't know. But you have to respect him in a culture that absolutely hates guns, supposedly, and absolutely leans way to the left, Hollywood. Vince Vaughn came out and said he is speaking out against gun control and the prohibition on possibly any gun ownership. So, congratulations to him. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a jingle on the landline. I would love to have you give me a call. By the way, did you hear it's so hard for some of the conservative groups here in this United States of America to have a tax-exempt status? Well, it seemed to be really easy in the state of Indiana for a so-called church that was called the First Church of Cannabis. You know what cannabis is. Well, they applied for a tax-exempt status, and underneath the name of the church, the First Church of Cannabis, but here's what's interesting. They were given the tax-exempt status in the state of Indiana, but marijuana is illegal in Indiana. And they went ahead and gave them a tax-exempt status. What kind of absolute brainless twits are running the government or not running the government? Ay, 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 ay. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle. I would like to hear what your thoughts are on any of the subjects that we've talked about this morning. And just keep rehashing this absolute pathetic mess with Bruce Jenner, and now changing his name to Caitlyn and saying that now he is a free woman. That just goes right along with the repulsiveness that we were talking about with Kelly Kohlberg just a few minutes ago as to what's going on in our society. Absolutely sick, sleaze, and abnormality. All right, give me a call. Come on. Don't be afraid. Just pick up the phone. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you hear about the University of Toledo football team? This makes me fighting mad, and I am personally going to call the head coach, Matt Campbell, and I'm going to try to get him on my program, if possible. The Freedom from Religion Foundation, the FFRF, which I absolutely am going after these folks and trying to turn them into a doornap. They are after the University of Toledo football team because the coach and the team, oh, how dare they? They prayed before a game. And so the Freedom from Religion Foundation sent the university a letter demanding an apology and also demanding that this never happen again. Absolutely never. Or they, the Freedom from Religion, will come down on them and make life very troublesome. You know what? One person, one concerned alumnus of the University of Toledo filed a complaint. One person filed a complaint against the coach and his team praying before they went out on the football field. In every team sport that I played, all through high school and in college, there was a moment of prayer and silent resignation for the good Lord above to help us during our game. Not to win, but to provide our best talents put forward. This is so sickening that one concerned alumnus, one person, filed a complaint and now is causing all this problem and all this furor at the University of Toledo and trying to get the coach by the name of Matt Campbell fired. What are your thoughts on this? You know what? We're going to pray anytime we want to on this program. If you don't like it, turn the dial. I'm going to pray anytime I want to before a team roping. I'm going to pray anytime I want to before a rodeo. The whole thing boils down to, if you want to, do it. I am not going to be legislated by, nor should you be told what to do by, anybody, these kooks and crackpots from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, especially when we're talking about one measly, weaselly little alumnus that was upset and offended. What are your thoughts? Give me a call quickly. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. One little weasel. Anyway, give me a call. Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. And today they have pasta salad with salmon served with garlic toast and soup or salad. Every single day they've got a delicious special. Every single day they've got great menu items. Every single day, super nice people and a great environment at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. You be sure and stop in and see those good folks today. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Talk to me.
I would like to invite people for free iris darts. Many colors. They need to be marked now. For information, call 208-678-4132.
Those are for iris flowers?
Yes.
Boy, I tell you what, I went from having a real serious story to giving away iris darts. What's that number again?
208-678-4132.
All right. Thank you very much for your call. I appreciate it. Thank you. I had to chuckle because I had no idea I was all of a sudden going to be giving away free iris darts. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. Very interesting story. We went right from the Freedom from Religion Foundation into free iris darts. You never know what's going to happen on this show. Also, we are very, very proud to have on Thursdays our friends with the Cassia County School Days, and thank you very much for all they do. We have two sponsors of that, Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley, and don't forget life-saving colonoscopies, many, many surgeries that will save you money. Please call and get more information at 677-8888, 677-8888, Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley, along with the Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. They've got all the play outfits. They got all the fun water toys. They've got all the games to help the kids behave themselves in the car on a road trip. They've got everything at a Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center, bringing you school days in Cassia County. We're going to take a little break, and then one of my favorite segments is coming up next hour, and that's going to be Dr. History with Dr. Ken Turner. Don't go away. We're going to have a lot more, but right now, the CBS News. Wheels, take it away. I'll be right back. Oh, good morning and welcome back. Zebeth Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. And what a great job they do, too. Along with some of our great advertisers, including Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Give them a call at 734-6969, locally owned and operated. And Valley White Home and Ranch. I mean, Sean, Mandy, the whole crew over there. They're really nice people at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and and the ranch. Valley White Home and Ranch. I'm losing my voice this morning. I apologize. Oh, do you know what time it is? Yes, boys and girls, it's not howdy doody time. It's time for Dr. History, world famous, and traveler that's known all over from airports from here to London to Shanghai. And he's on the air now, Dr. Ken Turner, better known as Dr. History. Brought to you by Minnecasia Sales at 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. You know Zach, don't you? Oh, yeah. Really nice guy, super nice people with everything you need for your spring and summer remodeling projects right there at Minnecasia Sales. And I'll tell you more about them in just a few moments. But right now here is Dr. History.
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing today?
I'm good, my friend.
Good.
Now, last week, let's see, I'm trying to remember. Last week we had some stories about railroad, right?
No, that was the graveyard, the Bodie County Cemetery.
Yeah, that's right, Bodie, California.
Yeah.
Yep. And this week, what are we going to do? Leave the cemetery and go elsewhere?
We're going to go out on the high plains.
Out in the high plains. Turn your mic up just a little bit like that. There you go. I don't want to miss anything of your golden tones. And whereabouts on the high plains?
Around Kansas.
Really?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
A lot of bad things happen in Kansas. You know that?
There are. But this is kind of a fun story.
Okay.
Now, you and I are both horse lovers.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Nothing like watching a beautiful horse run full speed across a pasture or the plains or on a racetrack. There's just a beauty of a horse, right?
Yeah, the mane and tail flowing in the breeze and the ears laid back, and oh man, it's something else.
So we're going to talk about a horse by the name of Black Kettle.
Black Kettle?
Black Kettle, and I'll explain why he got that name. So here we are, traveling over the Smoky Hill Trail had been hot and tiring for the party of pioneers in June of 1867.
Okay.
And they were glad when they circled their wagons for the night several miles east of Fort Wallace in northwest Kansas. Now, soon they relaxed with their evening meal. Grazing just outside the circle of wagons was a group of Kentucky thoroughbred horses. Mm-hmm. The pioneers were taking them to Salt Lake for breeding purposes. Now, history does mention that one of the animals, a black yearling stud colt, stood out above the rest. Just a magnificent, beautiful black horse. Now, the colt and other horses grazed and rested, but about dawn, a band of Cheyenne Indians under Chief Black Kettle swooped down on the camp. The Cheyennes ran off the stock, including the stud colt. Well, watching from the protection of their wagons, the pioneers watched as the Indians herded the horses away, and at first the Indians had no trouble controlling the animals, but pretty soon this stud colt veered away and hid out across country by himself. Now, 3 or 4 Indians gave chase, but the colt gave them too much, and they had to let him go. So after about a mile, they just gave up, and within a few days, this stud colt joined a band of wild horses. Now, as the weeks and months passed, the colt matured. He fought many battles for leadership with other wild stallions and eventually acquired his own herd. Now, by the early 1870s, he ranged over a large portion there in Kansas. And in 1873, hardly a week went by that some soldier or buffalo hunter or traveler did not report seeing this noble and beautiful stallion with his herd. Now, his glossy coat was coal black. He had a long mane that reached nearly to the ground, and when he stood erect, but when he was in motion with his head, it lay back and it made him look a foot taller because this long, beautiful mane and the tail stringing out made him look like he was 20 feet long.
Really?
Just a beautiful black horse.
Wow.
But anyway, in 1873, the soldiers and traders at Fort Wallace learned the stallion's history from friendly Cheyenne Indians. The Indians related how they had tried unsuccessfully to capture the horse many times. The soldiers at the fort soon began calling the stallion Black Kettle's colt, because Black Kettle was the chief of the Indians who ran the horse off from the pioneers.
I see.
So that's how he got the name of Black Kettle.
Okay.
Now, a lot of men tried to capture Black Kettle. One of them was a guy named Homer Wheeler, and with the help of soldiers, Wheeler surrounded Black Kettle one night in a circle around the stallion and his mares. Mm-hmm. And what he did was he posted a soldier every half mile. Now, his plan was to chase Black Kettle around the inside of the circle using a fresh horse and rider every hour. Then when Black Kettle became exhausted, Wheeler would send in a cowboy to rope the tired horse. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, unless, now, how big an area and what kind of a confined area was it in?
Well, it's kind of in the plains. plains, but it's a big area.
I see.
And to have a guy every half mile, that's still a big area.
Yeah.
So
it seems like he could have got away easily.
Well, Black Kettle was too smart for Wheeler.
Yeah.
Before he could begin chasing Black Kettle at dawn, the stallion and his mares broke through, just like you guessed.
Yeah.
And disgusted, Wheeler returned to Fort Wallace, where he offered $200 to any man who could capture Black Kettle.
Really?
Okay. So a man by the name of Cole, he was a buffalo hunter. Now, he heard Wheeler make the offer, and he said, "Doggone it, I'll get that horse."
Really?
Those words, exact.
Doggone it. Yeah.
Yes.
MICKEYMOUSE.
He was a gentleman.
Yes, he was.
Anyway, the next morning, Cole set out on foot after the horse.
Uh-huh.
Now, his plan was to walk the animal down, crease him, and then hobble Black Kettle before he woke up.
Now, this creasing, and I'm going to interrupt you right there, and I want you to explain that, but boy, that could have been very dangerous.
Creasing wild horses was a common practice in the 1870s.
It was.
And Mustangers, as the wild horse hunters were called, would fire a rifle ball through the top of the horse's neck about a foot from the ears.
Yep.
It would temporarily paralyze but not permanently hurt the horse, hopefully.
Yeah, you had to be, keywords, a crack shot.
Yes. Well, a few hours after leaving camp, Cole spotted Black Kettle. The stallion and his herd were grazing on a ridge about 10 miles away, and seeing Cole, Black Kettle took his mares and ran. Now, on foot, this doesn't make sense to me, but on foot, Cole followed at a brisk walk.
At a brisk walk.
Yeah. Sometimes trotting.
Which left him 37 miles behind the horse.
Well, after 2 miles, Colt had the feeling that Black Kettle had changed course, and far away on the horizon in every direction he saw wild horses, and one bunch, larger than the others, was slowly moving west. So taking the chance, he began walking west, and Cole moved close enough to the horses to see that their leader was not Black Kettle. Now, again, going on foot across the plains, chasing a horse, doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
This guy doesn't sound like he graduated with honors.
No.
Okay.
So, now what Cole did not know was that Black Kettle was smarter than most wild horses.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of running in a wide circle within 10 miles of a watering hole, as most wild horses did, Black Kettle had 2 watering places, and they were 20 miles apart.
Yeah.
So Black Kettle would sometimes run that 20 miles in a straight line when he was scared. So
yeah, there's a lot of people that have a drink after work do that so their wives can't find them.
That's right. So the next day, Cole again searched for the stallion without success. And anyway, he said he'd return later to capture Black Kettle, but he never did. So through the 1870s, Black Kettle was chased by more men than any other horse on the plains between Kansas City and Denver. And anyway, he's the subject of a lot of stories around the campfire. And about this time, there's a guy the name of Lockhart and his partner, Bill Simpson. They began to dream of the day when they would capture Black Kettle.
That's a good way to stop right there. And the capturing of Black Kettle will continue momentarily. But right now, we're going to have a word from our sponsor, Old Zack Attack at Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. Number to call for all of your spring remodeling and summer remodeling needs is 878-2091. These are really great folks that have all the lumber packages to choose from. They've got all the shingles. They've got all the upgrade of your windows to save on energy efficiency. They've got all your carpet. They've got everything. And the people to put it in, too. Zach and the rest of the crew at Minnecasia Sales. Oh, and they've got the Tartar Farm and Ranch equipment, too. Man, they've got it all at Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, 878-2091. And now, back to Black Kettle and the capturing of the black horse.
Okay, so here we have Frank Lockhart and his partner Bill Simpson. They thought sure they could capture this horse. He'd caught a lot of Mustangs before, and he was sure that he could catch them. So, well, late one afternoon, as Lockhart and Simpson started for camp, another bunch of wild horses came into view. Although more than a mile away, a look through the field glasses settled the question as to the leader's identity. It was Black Kettle. There was no mistake about it. His long mane and tail were plainly visible, and Lockhart wanted to give chase. But Simpson said, no, this is late in the afternoon. Your horse is tired. Let's wait until morning. So Lockhart agreed it would be better to wait. So at first light, they headed out. Lockhart was in the saddle. He was sure he would take his prize that day, and it took him 2 hours to locate Black Kettle. Now, he said, I weighed 140 pounds at that time and was hardened to the saddle. I could ride 100 miles without tiring, and I had a corn-fat horse that was tough as anything. He says, I started after him on a stiff lope, going out at about 10 miles an hour, and held that same rate of speed for the next 10 hours.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
10 hours in the saddle.
I question that one.
Well, I do a little bit too.
Okay.
10 hours
All right.
at a lope. Anyway.
Yeah.
But Lockhart did not capture Black Kettle that day. He never got even close to the stallion. Now, as darkness closed in, the temperature started to go down, and Lockhart lost sight of Black Kettle. Now, Lockhart made camp, and he wrapped himself in his saddle blanket, but the sweat moistened blanket soon froze stiff, and fearing he might freeze to death, Lockhart saddled his horse, and alternating between riding and walking, he kept moving all night because he didn't realize how far away he was from camp and nearly froze to death.
A lot of these guys don't seem like college graduates.
They don't. So here we are. Okay, it's January. So it's wintertime. January 1880.
Okay.
Lockhart and Simpson returned to Black Kettle's range and set up camp, and by this time they had 6 extra corn-fat saddle horses, just, prime horses, supposedly.
Yeah.
So before preparing to go after Black Kettle again, Lockhart went to visit a guy by the name of Wild Horse Johnson. Now, Lockhart found Johnson, who was a crusty old plainsman who'd caught more wild mustangs than he could count. Well, Lockhart asked Johnson how he caught wild horses, and he said, I followed them in a buckboard until they became sore-footed, and then I corral them. Once I corral them, I just catch them.
He followed in a buckboard?
In a buckboard.
You got to be kidding me.
Okay. So Johnson learned that Lockhart was after Black Kettle, and he said, I chased him once for 2 days and then lost him, and he says, he's been run so much that he's very wild, he's cunning, and Johnson told Lockhart not to even bother going after Black Kettle.
Yeah.
He said, there are hundreds of other horses out there on the prairie that are worth a lot more than Black Kettle. But Lockhart did not heed Wild Horse Johnson's advice. The horse was already an obsession with him. After thanking Johnson for his hospitality, Lockhart returned to camp and prepared to resume his plan to capture Black Kettle, who by this time was about 13 years old. I mean, that's a horse pretty much in its prime.
Well, yeah.
So, but deep inside, Lockhart still wanted to capture Black Kettle, and so he decided to follow Wild Horse Johnson's advice. So instead of chasing the stallion on horseback, he would pursue the horse in a light buckboard.
Okay, now that tells me of a very limited amount of places where you could travel.
See, now that's what appears to me. It must have been fairly flat through that whole area.
Well, Kansas is flat, but I mean, you still got rocks and little hills and washes and everything. And how are you going to follow a wild horse in a buckboard?
Well, that's a questionable thing, but that's what he tried.
Okay.
But he put food and water for himself and his team on the buckboard so he could water himself and the horses and feed them. But, okay, now here we are, June of 1880. Lockhart set out in his buggy to find Black Kettle. Okay, within 2 hours he spotted the stallion and the chase was on. But Lockhart didn't try to catch the horse. Instead, he just jogged along in his buggy after the stallion and the mares.
What do you do, sing him a song or something, for heaven's sake?
He was just kind of moseying along.
Moseying.
He said, I learned that speed was not necessary, that if a horse was kept moving constantly, his feet would soon give out. So he was just kind of trailing him, really, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So for the first 3 days, Black Kettle and his mares ran away when they saw Lockhart, but on the 4th day, Lockhart could see them limping along only a half a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when the horses went to water, Lockhart returned to camp for a change of horses and a fresh supply of food. Now, at dawn on the 5th morning, Lockhart hitched his team to the buckboard, started after Black Kettle, and what happened next is best told in his own words. He says, I had driven only a short 2 miles when I heard something that sounded like distant thunder. The earth seemed to tremble, and as I looked about, I discovered wild horses coming from all directions. Black Kettle broke into the wild run, and other bunches fell in alongside of him. My team wanted to run, and I let them out at full speed.
With a buckboard?
Now again, questioning the sanity.
Hey!
You're in it. Okay, picture that. You're in with a whole bunch of wild horses.
In a buckboard.
Bouncing
like a Spalding basketball.
Running, and he said I could see horses coming from everywhere. We had only run a short time when there were hundreds of them all running their very best.
Yeah, keep going.
So I looked to the right and I saw a herd of buffalo.
Oh, this is going to get nasty.
Okay, about 50 in number, running parallel with the horses.
Uh-huh.
You got a whole lot of running going here.
And one buckboard caused all this wreck.
So he said they ran along in this direction for about 10 miles. 10 miles.
I'm having a hard time with this.
Okay. Now, Black Kettle was near the center of the long line, which extended a half a mile on either side of him.
Yeah.
So you got a mile.
That's from here to Hanson.
Yeah, spread out of wild horses and buffalo. Now, Black Kettle was near the center of the long line, which extended, like I say, a half mile on each side. He said we were going very fast, obviously. My team soon began to weaken, but I applied the whip and kept them as near as I could.
After 10 miles, the team started to finally weaken? Are you kidding me?
So he says my team was exhausted and stopped as soon as I quit laying the whip on them. Obviously, again. And he said I must have run 30 miles that morning. 30 miles.
I don't know.
Now, he says this. He said, I had killed a team that was worth more than 100 wild horses. In other words, he ruined his team of horses.
Absolutely.
Because that's what happens if you run a horse too long.
Do you think?
You ruin him. So the next morning, he left camp at dawn with a fresh team, met Black Kettle and his mares returning to their home range. He again began to follow the stallion and his mares, a daily routine that was to last 24 more days.
Oh,
24
now,
more days.
in a buckboard?
Just following him. So each morning, Lockhart would set out in his buckboard, locate Black Kettle, follow the stallion and his mares, and late in the afternoon on most days, he would just return to camp, spend the night, go out again the next day.
For $200?
Well, no, we don't know how much it was worth.
Oh, no, but didn't the guy offer him $200?
Yeah. So... Okay. Anyway, on the morning of the 30th day of Lockhart's buggy pursuit, he came...
a month.
A month. He came upon Black Kettle and 29 mares moving along in a slow walk. Now, Lockhart was able to move close enough to Black Kettle and the mares to touch them with his whip. Black Kettle had lost interest. His feet were so sore that he would stop for a minute and then hold up one foot. And you've seen horses like that have sore feet.
Absolutely.
And so the bunch had stopped, and he was acting, like he was done. So Lockhart moved behind Black Kettle and the mares and drove them along, and the horses offered no resistance. After a few trials, Lockhart was able to get Black Kettle and 16 of the 29 mares into a corral. He'd finally walked Black Kettle into submission.
Oh, my goodness sakes.
Now, before nightfall, Lockhart succeeded in saddling and riding this tired, foot-sore horse.
I'm not buying this.
Black Kettle. Hey, it's in the book. It's got to be true, right?
Yeah, right.
Black Kettle was as tame as Lockhart's own horse, and he had tasted victory, so he says. Now, people came from all over to view the legendary Black Kettle, but somehow, the romance and the adventure had been associated with the horse was kind of gone. And what was even worse is Lockhart trimmed the horse's mane and tail, which was the beautiful part of the horse,
Yeah.
Well, in time, he sold Black Kettle, and this once magnificent horse began the lowly task of pulling a milk wagon.
This is sad.
And eventually, he sold him to a farmer who used Black Kettle on a plow.
Oh, my goodness.
Became a plow horse.
Yeah.
Well, in the early 1890s, Black Kettle passed into the hands of a guy named Harlan Day.
How old was he then?
Gosh, I don't know. Well, no, I can tell you here. Just a second.
Yeah.
Anyway, he sold him to this farmer, and he had him until 1896. Black Kettle died at the age of 30 years.
Oh, my.
Which is kind of old for a horse.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when they hit 30, that's pretty unusual. But that's the story of Black Kettle, the beautiful wild stallion that...
It's some things, and I know a lot of people might not agree with this, but I'm just going to say it. Some things deserve to be left alone.
Yeah.
Some things deserve to be left alone. And I think appreciated.
Yes. Now, when I see this story or read this story, I think of the old story of Black Beauty and some of the other horses that, they're just beautiful animals. And
I think that the Wild Mustang, and I'm going to state my case on this, I think that there's overgrazing on the range and there's overpopulated numbers that need to be managed, and I heavily support the BLM and their Mustang programs. I really do. But there's still a part of me that always says, I've ran wild horses way back in the early 70s. And quite frankly, when they come across the crest of a hill or down through a ravine and you see them, Man, that is something you'll never see again that is that free.
Yeah. What a beautiful sight to see horses just running free and wild on the range.
And going. And taunting humankind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not as dumb as we think sometimes.
Oh, no. Well,
obviously,
needless to say, in your story, there were some dumb humans in there.
That's true.
All right. That's a good story, but I just think they should have left him alone.
Yeah, let him go. I mean, he's had a reputation. He was a beautiful animal.
Yeah.
Let him live till he dies out on the range.
Kinda like you, Dr. History, wild and free.
Wild and free, that's right.
Let him go. What are we going to talk about next week?
I don't have a clue, but I will tell you this. I've been reading a book right now about Goodnight and
Charlie
Love.
Goodnight.
Yeah.
Charlie Goodnight Trail.
Yeah.
I want to say something here to you, and I hope you're not offended by this, but this story's a classic example. That sometimes I think the stories of the Old West sometimes were highly exaggerated because at that time people thought there couldn't be any evidence against them.
Right.
And I think when you were saying 10, 20, 30 miles in a buckboard at a full gallop and everything, I'm sitting here kind of scratching my head.
Well, I did too when I read this. That's the bad thing. About
makes
history.
For good listening, though.
It does.
But anyway, Dr. History, you did it again. And I will say this, brought to you by Minnecash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. Zach and the rest of the crew. Number to call, 878-2091. The interesting thing about what we're doing on this show, though, and every week you prove this, is that some of the most glorious history and glorious part of our past and heritage comes from the Old West.
If I could just go back there for even a few days or a few weeks, I would love to just walk through a town or ride across the prairie or be with the wagon train.
Amen.
Just for a few days, just to see what it was really like.
Or on a cattle drive leaving Texas going to Abilene.
Yes.
And you're riding drag.
Oh.
In the dust.
You wouldn't see anything.
With no bandana. Bye-bye, doctor.
That's right.
Okay. Oh, Dr. History, God bless you, man. Thanks so much.
You have a good day, Zeb.
Don't forget our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, offering qualified Lennox home comfort systems with gas furnaces, air conditioners, and, of course, heat pumps. All the comfort, all the convenience with Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Warm winters and cool summers. You call them at 678-0459. Right now, we're going to send it back over to our main studios. And, wait a minute. I got one other good word here. Hold on just a second. I'm going to get myself in trouble. I want to remind everybody about our friends at Smith's Food and Drug, 937 East Main in Burley, one of our United Dairymen of Idaho's sponsors for June Dairy Month. Don't forget Metal Gold bars, just 3 for $5. You'll Play yogurt, 39 cents right there today at Smith's Food and Drug, supporting June Dairy Month. Really great folks. Along with AMI at 710 Overland Avenue in Burley. You need a fastener? AMI has got your fasteners. Locally owned and operated. All the bolts, nuts, and hardware. AMI has it all, and they wish you a very happy and fun time during June Dairy Month. And now, back to our main studios. We'll be right back.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, good morning and welcome back to hour number 3 as we're down the home stretch and Zeb at the Ranch, and we're going to have our guest, a really good old boy, on the program with us. I look forward to having John LeBoutelier here in just a moment. First and foremost, I want to remind you about Vicky's Country Garden. Don't forget, every Thursday. Yep, we go right into the garden. Yours truly learns how to make the garden grow. And Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Absolutely the best. 438-5663. That program's on Thursdays at 10:30 right here on Zeb at the Ranch. And Vicky's Country Garden, with everything you need for your garden or the refurbishing of your outdoors around your property, all the decorative rock, everything at Vicky's Country Gardens. Well, lo and behold, live and direct from the East Coast, live and direct from the political insiders, live and direct from formerly being the United States Congressman from New York. Hello, John LeBoutelier. How are you?
Hello, Zeb Bell. Great to be back with you. I am alive, and I'm very direct.
You know, it is a pleasure to have you back on the air, and I'm going to kind of throw a little potpourri at you this morning, John. Number one, I want to start with Obama yesterday coming out, standing at the podium saying, thanks to his leadership for the last 7 years, America has regained its number one position in the world for respect. Where did that come from?
Well, in his mind, he's tried to do everything the opposite of what he thinks was the failure of George W. Bush, you know. And when he got elected, without having done anything, they gave him the Nobel Peace Prize just for not being George W. Bush. And this is his mentality, that he's brought the world, America back to number one in the world, that we were at the pits when he took over, none of which is true. If anything, he has lowered America, I think, but that's my opinion.
Absolutely. You know, in accordance with that, right now, we're getting into the political season, John. You've lived it, you've breathed it, you've been there, done that type of thing. Don't you think the Republicans are kind of shooting themselves in the foot with all the 100-plus candidates that want to run for president? Isn't this out of control?
Last I heard, we're up to 280 as announced that they're running. And they're waiting for you to throw your hat in the ring. But, it's crazy. And I'll tell you what's going to happen is they're going to chop each other up, Seb. Instead of furthering and improving the image of the Republican Party, they're actually going to make it worse by having a gigantic circular firing squad with 20 candidates aiming at each other, all quite well funded, by the way. They're all going to have a lot of money because of the laws have changed, and it's easier to get money for campaigns. And so you got someone like Ted Cruz. Had this guy up here from where I live on Long Island, this guy Robert Mercer, has given Ted Cruz, his presidential campaign, $31 million.
Oh, my.
Which means that Ted Cruz's campaign is totally funded the whole way. He's in good shape in the primaries, and he's going to be a very tough candidate with some money behind him. In the past, he'd have been a good candidate with no money behind him. And now with all that money, what's he going to do with it? He's going to chop up Marco Rubio. He's going to chop up Scott Walker. Scott Walker's going to have to turn around and chop up Ted Cruz. And they're all going to chop each other up. And over on the other side of the aisle is Hillary Clinton sitting in a catbird seat watching the Republicans ruin each other.
Now, let me ask you a question right there, John, because you did not, and I think you did it on purpose, you did not mention Jeb Bush. I still think, and my biggest concern is that Jeb Bush may win the nomination, and I think that's going to spell a loss for the Republican Party. What are your thoughts about Jeb Bush and the money?
Well, I didn't mention him on purpose because I think Jeb Bush has a down arrow next to him, Zeb. I don't think he is going to win the nomination. I think that I have feared it like you do. I was afraid of it, but as these last few months have gone on, I've seen that he's a terrible political candidate. No matter what his name is, he's just, on candidate skills, he's a weak candidate. Then you add in the name and the resistance to another Bush, and I don't think he is going to make it. I really don't.
Okay.
And I agree with you. If he did somehow win the nomination, we would lose with him. He's a loser. The Bushes are losers. The country doesn't work. Hey, I'm wearing an iWatch today that I just bought. I've got the new version of the iPhone. I'm a typical American. I want new stuff. And the same thing in politics. We want new candidates, new ideas, not 3 versions of the Bushes, 2 versions of the Clintons. I mean, please, give me something new.
All right, that leads me up to this, and I know you're going to have a heyday with this. You have on television already. The Queen of Mean, Hillary Clinton for president. My goodness, this woman is as frumpy, and I just think she's not mentally agile enough to be the president. John, this woman scares me. She's not treating the presidency with any respect.
Oh, God. Well, she and her husband look at it as an ATM machine, you know?
Very well said.
A way to make money, cash in, sell access. It's pathetic what they do.
Yeah.
Now, a couple of interesting things this morning, though, Zeb. She was having a fundraiser yesterday here in New York, hosted by the former First Lady of New York State, Silda Spitzer, the former wife of Elliot Spitzer.
Right.
The governor here, who had to leave in that scandal with a prostitute. And Mrs. Spitzer held this fundraiser for Hillary yesterday. 150 women, powerful women, were going to come, big bucks, at lunch in New York City. Well, guess what? They got into the weekend with 2 days to go. They couldn't sell enough tickets. They weren't people interested. So they had to open the thing so men could come also. And even then, they couldn't sell 150 tickets. If Hillary's such a hot item politically, and she was the senator from New York, and she can't get 150 people to come to a fundraiser, there's something wrong, you know? And I think there's a lack of enthusiasm for her. And then also this morning, the new CNN poll came out. Her numbers are deteriorating. People don't trust her. They don't believe her. They don't think she's out for people like them. She is beatable, Zeb. There's no doubt in my mind, either in the primaries, if someone like Elizabeth Warren ran, which she's not, but definitely in the general election, if the Republicans have a good candidate, we could beat her. I'm sure of it.
Let me change a little bit here, John, and ask you about a very serious subject, and that is crime in America. And I know you can discuss this very eloquently. We're looking at Baltimore. We're looking at other major cities. New York is falling apart at the seams, and Chicago, and all of these cities are democratically led. And what's the answer here? Because these people are suffering with a lack of law enforcement. They're suffering with murders that are running rampant in their cities. What are we going to do to clean up the major cities in our country, America, Chicago, Baltimore, etc.? It's getting worse every day.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be more federal money injected into these places. We've spent trillions, and it hasn't done the job. The only thing I could offer up is a couple of things. One is we got to get the economy going. The economy in America is a disaster. Not doing well. It's basically at a standstill. Certain sectors might be good, but overall it's not doing well. And therefore there are no jobs for those people in those inner cities. And what is their life? It's hopeless. They have the young up-and-coming people who want to work, there are no jobs for them. Their educational system in the inner cities is terrible. And the whole thing is a mess. And there are ways to fix it. Doesn't require more money. Requires a different way of thinking on education. The public teachers unions have ruined the schools in the inner cities. They don't allow charter schools or vouchers for the kids to go elsewhere. The parents desperately want that. That's an area where Republicans could make hay, by the way, but they don't. The thing is, it's sad. It's pathetic. And under a black president, the black percentage of blacks who are victims of black-on-black crime has gone up. Unemployment among blacks has gone up. Poverty level, the number of people living under the poverty level has gone up. And that guy doesn't seem to give a tinker's damn about it either.
You know, John, one other story that I'd like your opinion on is a story that is just kind of seething and brewing under the surface, and it's going to come up, I think, before Obama leaves office as a very detrimental story against him and his administration, and that's the swapping of the Taliban 5 for the deserter Bo Bergdahl. I think this story has more legs and more opportunity to hurt more people in government than Benghazi. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, Benghazi is done. We'll get a little bit new news, but it's so controversial. The Taliban thing, no one's defending that deal. That's a terrible deal. Obviously, was a terrible deal. They're trying to cover it up a little bit now by extending how long these 5 bastards have to stay in Qatar before they can go back to the battlefield in Afghanistan. And by the way, Zeb, it has never been reported, so I don't know for sure if it's true, but I've heard that it's true, that along with the 5 Taliban commanders, we also gave tens of millions of dollars to the Taliban to let Bo Bergdahl go. And the reason I believe that is true is less than 2 months after that deal went down, we have the beheading of James Foley by ISIS. And we now know, leading up to that, ISIS tried to get $100 million for Foley out of the administration, which wouldn't pay. And ISIS then went to Foley's family, who said, we'll try to raise the money for you. And they tried raising money, and the Obama White House told the Foley family to stop. They would not allow them to pay money. Now, what I think happened was there was money in the Bergdahl deal, secretly done, and I think ISIS found out about it and said, hey, the cash register's open. That if the Taliban can get money for Bergdahl, we can get money for these hostages like James Foley that we've captured. And Obama is an idiot to have ever paid in the first place. They'll deny that he paid, but I think he did. And once you start paying, then everybody's going to get captured for money.
Absolutely. Final thoughts this morning, John. The travesty on the cover of Vanity Fair, the transition of Bruce Jenner.
Yeah, God, I mean, I'm old enough. I remember Bruce Jenner winning the Olympics in '76 in Montreal.
I do, too.
And he was the hero in America, Zeb. He was great and seemed like a great guy and everything. This thing is so sick and pathetic and weird. And by the way, so he's a woman now, sort of, but not totally physically, you know. But he's going to date women.
Oh, boy.
This is what I miss.
You know, John, I always appreciate your comments on my program. You're always straightforward. I wish you and the rest of the political insiders on Fox great success. Please come back in the future. God's blessings to you, and I'll look forward to the next meeting on the air.
Me too, Zeb. Thanks for having me.
All right. God bless her. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
John LeBoutelier, former congressman for the United States from the state of New York, and now on television every Sunday with the political insiders on Fox in New York. You know, the way he described and explained the money situation with ISIS to the Taliban, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, very interesting. Very well thought out. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And while I'm waiting for your phone calls, we better get the weather forecast in here real quick, and it's brought to you by Scarro's Meats. One bite at a time. They're selling taste. You better believe it. It's delicious. 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number 324-7657. And the tax return meat package for just $300. Wow. I had a lady the other day, as a matter of fact, call and say, what's that tax return meat package? Well, it's beef with ground beef and patties and rump roasts and New York steaks and pork with the pork chops and the bacon and the brats and the chicken and the cheese. It's delicious. All of that through Scarro's Meats in Jerome. Right now, here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers with Zeb at the Ranch. Are you done with the rain? Yeah, I thought you might. Well, that's good. Now, imagine a day in the Magic Valley of south central Idaho where it's been raining like crazy, and now it's clear and crisp and clean. The air just feels so good. Smells so good. You can see those nice puffy clouds, and heck, if you look down the Snake River from where you're at all the way down to Cauldron Lynn if you wanted to. It's going to be a nice day today. That's just for today. Chance of showers for tomorrow. Tomorrow's not here yet. Don't worry. There you go. There you go. Daytime high today, low 70s. Enjoy the day. If you enjoy the weather, go with you.
All right. Thank you very much, Scarro's Meats. Selling taste one bite at a time at 331 North Road in Jerome. 324-7657. That's the number for Scarro's Meats. All right. Calls are welcome. 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Yesterday, excuse me, after I got off the program, I sat down and I was reading the mail for about 10, 15 minutes, and I get all kinds of newspapers and everything sent to me so I can compare the various stories that are in the various news media. And I happened to run across on the back sheet of the USA Today sports section the final round on Sunday of the AT&T Byron Nelson Classic. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I wished my mommy and daddy, when I was born, would have provided me with a set of golf clubs, because, listen to this, the winner of the Byron Nelson Golf Classic this last week was Stephen Bowditch. He won $1,278,000. $1,278,000. But you say to yourself, oh, well, you know, there was maybe 1 through 10 that made some money. Au contraire. Listen to this. I followed through the list of all the players of this golf tournament, and I got all the way down to 80th in the tournament. 80th, Mark Anderson won $14,271. Yes, I do wish that Mom and Dad would have stuck a set of golf clubs in my crib. 80th won $14,271,000. Oh, boy. Hey, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I know it's grueling. I know they've put a lot of time. They put a lot of practice. I know they put a lot of effort into being a professional golfer. But holy smokes, you know, that's not bad for finishing 80th. Who's going to do a news story on ESPN? Well, our friend Mark Anderson won 80th at the Byron Nelson Classic. He won 14. Nobody's going to comment on that. I broke it down into the top 10. 10th place won $157,000, and 20th place won $102,000, and 30th won $45,000, and then it keeps going. 50th won $27,000. 60th in the standings won $18,000. 70th place. I mean, holy smokes. They won, Bird Jonathan won $15,407, and 80th won $14,271. That's a whole bunch of golfers coming up with a pretty good-sized paycheck. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd love to visit with you. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, with the free pre-trip safety check. My goodness sakes, this is really something. They're going to make sure that they eyeball everything to make sure it looks good and is safe for you for summertime driving. And don't forget, too, they've got a lot of their tires on sale, like the light truck and SUV tire, the Wildcat AT2. All-season traction and a smooth, quiet ride. The very best of brake value, too. They know brakes at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, along with front-end alignments, shocks and struts, batteries, oh my, all of this and more. You stop in at any one of the 7 locations for the best. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today. All right, calls are welcome. Give me a jingle. Come on, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What we have planned for tomorrow on the program, I had thought that Senator Mike Crapo was going to call in tomorrow, and they changed the schedule again. And now they say, oh, no, au contraire, he's going to be on next program on next Wednesday, the 10th. Senator Mike Crapo. But tomorrow we've got Indianapolis, Indiana, Dave Vigo coming back. And then at 9:30, don't forget, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to have my dear, dear friend, Norm Semenko with the Idaho Water Users Association. And he's going to tell us exactly what he thinks is going to happen with the new EPA water rulings and what to watch out for and what maybe we can do to help thwart some of this with the EPA. And then a guy that absolutely I look forward to having him on the program every week, and that's Doug Johnson from Colorado. And exceptionally talented guy, writing a lot of business openings, etc., for various businesses across the United States, and very, very adept at political insight with his Horse Sense blog. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. And then last but not least at 10:30, we're going to have somebody on from the United Dairymen of Idaho, and we're going to be talking about June Dairy Month. So don't forget that. All of that and more coming up on tomorrow's programs. One person that deserves a lot of thanks, and one person that's done a whale of a good job over at our studios, is Wheels. Wheels, turn your microphone on for a minute. I'm going to give you a chance to let everybody hear you. How you doing this morning?
I'm good.
You sound like you're nervous.
No, just Alan just called in and then you asked for me over the air.
Well, Alan, stop bothering my man over there. Old Wheels has got to turn the mic on. By the way, I just want to compliment you. You're doing a really good job.
Thank you, sir. That means a lot.
Well, you're all right. And I hope you're wearing your baseball cap that I had made for you. If not, there's a $25 penalty for not wearing the proper attire.
Oh, yeah. I even have it in my car, too. I keep it in there just so that way people aren't freaking putting it in the wrong spot and I don't lose it.
Oh, that a boy. Listen, you're doing a good job, and we'll look forward to tomorrow, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right. We're going to wrap things up a couple of minutes early. I've got some people I've got coming by the house, and we've got to take care of some other business. And what I'm going to remind you of quickly is that starting tomorrow, we're going to have some more contests for more June Dairy Month goodies, ice cream and milk, etc. Stay tuned for that. Plus, we're going to have another contest first hour tomorrow morning for maybe some more tickets to the Classics on the Grass. And boy, am I going to research the answer before we put it on the air tomorrow morning. And all of that right here on K-Bar 1230 a.m. and then streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com. And so, Wheels, if you don't mind, I'm going to leave it to you a minute early. We're going to take it over right now and visit with some other folks. You put a music on till the CBS News, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06. The way things were are the way things ought to be. Thank you.